friends, it's Christine from Christine's Stamping Spot, back with you for today's Mystery Monday video, and a happy Victoria Day to anybody in Canada that is celebrating a long weekend this weekend. I hope you're having fun, whether you're camping or not, or gardening. I hope you're having a great long weekend. So today we are going to do a project with the new Bottled Happiness bundle, and excuse me, this is in the new catalog and you can find it on page 16. So the bundle consists of this stamp set and a new bottle punch. So I saw a project that I was inspired by on Pinterest by Tina Wardell, who is a demonstrator in the US. And I thought, oh, this is just really cool. It's kind of almost like a 3D look to this, but we'll see. She didn't post any measurements or necessarily colors or anything, so I kind of made up my own as we go, and I hope you will think it is really cool. So this is what we are making today. It is a shaker card, so you can hear those beads shaking in the shaker dome there, and we're actually using these dies are actually from the Meadow dies, which were part of the Quiet Meadow bundle back in an old mini, but it has been carried forward into the new catalog, just not as a bundle. So we are going to be using these 3 dies here, and it does also come with some other dies as well. So it's a really great set of dies to have. So we are going to use these 3 images here for cutting some of our flowers and things. So let's get started and I'll show you how to make this fun card. So we are going to start with a piece of basic white cardstock, 8.5 by 5.5, and I will post all of these measurements. So this will form our base. And then I chose a piece of Blackberry Bliss. Now this, I don't know if you can tell, has been embossed, and I embossed it with the new Fern 3D embossing folder, which looks like this. So it's a very pretty folder for a background. So that was embossed on the Blackberry Bliss. So I'm just gonna go ahead and put this layer on here. And we're just going to center this here in the center, leaving about, I think I kind of guesstimated about 1/2 inch on each side. So we'll just put this down for now and set this aside, and then we're going to work on our flowers. So for that, I have another piece of basic white, and I will post these measurements like I mentioned. And what we are going to do first is we are going to add a piece. This is actually a piece of designer paper. Tina had this great idea to make it look like the vase is sitting on a tabletop. So she had used some old wood grain paper, designer paper, which you're welcome to use. But I decided, in case you don't have that, one pattern you can use, or one pack of DSP if you have it, is the Heart and Home designer paper. This is the one with the bumblebees, etc. So one side of the DSP has patterns and the other side is all wood grain. So I cut a piece of this, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to color it with my blend. So, or you can use a sponge or a sponge dauber, that works too. So I'm just going to quickly give that some crumb cake ink to make it look a little bit like wood, or you could use a different ink if you wanted something darker, or you can certainly decide. And it doesn't need much, right? It just needs a little bit to make it look like it's a wood finish. So this piece we are going to attach at the bottom of this white here. Okay, so this is going to be our pretend tabletop. All right, so now the next part is trying to punch out this bottle. So we're going to use our bottle punch for that. And what I did was I just put this in as far as it would go, and I'm just eyeballing it. If you were really specific, you could probably make some marks on it if you wanted it exactly centered. I'm just gonna kind of wing it and hope for the best. So that looks not bad, actually. Let's try that. Hey, that worked out pretty well. And so I have this punched piece now that I can use on another project. It almost looks like it has some liquid at the bottom there, doesn't it? So we can always use that for another project. Okay, so now we have our bottle punched. So the next step is to use our vintage bottle dome shakers. So they come in a little box like this. You get, how many do you get in here? 10, I think. The writing is really small. And this is what they look like. So they're really small, but they're so stinking cute. I think they're just really, really sweet. And this is what they look like. Okay, so they're not overly thick when you look at them. So a trick that Tina did is, like, normally you would put the whole bottle through here. But what she did, because she wanted these flower stems to appear in the dome, what she did was she cut off, and I thought this was brilliant, she just cut off the top of the shaker dome here. It's just a thin plastic, so your snips will do. And then that will leave you like an opening that you can put your stems through. So we're going to take off this front adhesive here and set this down, and then we're going to put our template on top of that adhesive and just give it a good press all around. Okay, and that will attach the front of it to this cardstock. So we have another piece of adhesive on the back that we're going to use in just a bit. So now comes the tricky part. Well, not really tricky, I guess, but we're going to be filling this with these beads. So what these are effervescent elements. Now, there are, it says on here, approximately 2,300 of these. So beware when you take off the lid that they don't go flying all over your table and your floor, because they could certainly do that. They are super small, and if you're not careful, they will just go everywhere. Okay, so I'm going to try to fill this, and I just randomly put some in here, and I want to try to make mine. You can put as few or as many as you like, but I'm going to try to get mine about maybe 1/3 to 1/2 full. Like you can see, they can kind of spill everywhere. So let me do just a few more here. Yeah, see, they're spilling all over my work surface, so just be aware. So I'm just going to take a piece of cardstock to hold on the back just for a second. Do not let go, just to see how many I have. So I've got about a good 1/2 bottle full, which I think I like quite well for this. Okay, so I'm going to turn this over. I'm going to close these because I do not want to spill them. Okay, so we have our beads in there, and do not shake it too much, Christine, because they will all spill out. Okay, so now what we're going to do is take off this adhesive, and I cut just a piece of white cardstock to cover this opening. And because we want to add a couple things before we actually stick it to our card base. So I'm just going to layer this on top just to cover that opening. Now, because we cut the top off here, if you turn this upside down, these will spill out, okay? So until we're finished our card, try to resist shaking it too much or flipping it upside down, because the regular shaker, if you didn't cut it, would be sealed here, so you would be good to go. But because we trimmed off that top edge, this is actually an opening here. All right, so now I'm gonna actually just prop this. Oh, hang on, got a loose bead up here. Get that back down. If I can get this back down, there we go. I'm just gonna prop this up here. Okay, so now what we wanna do is, oh, see, I even have some more loose ones here. Like I said, they just go everywhere. So hang on. I'm just gonna get these off my work surface before they go elsewhere. Okay. All right, so now what we're gonna do is cut out these flowers and our stems and try to make our little arrangement. Okay, so what I did for that is I used those dies from the Meadow Dies, and I pre-did these. So I cut some out of yellow, and I'm going to tell you what paper I used for this in a second. I think you'll might be a little bit surprised what I decided to use. Okay, so what I did is I used those dies, and Tina actually in her blog said she had used her stamping blends. So basically she had cut out the dies, I guess, out of white and just used her blends to color her flowers. And I thought, well, I don't really want to do that. So I thought, what paper do I have? Because her coloring was just beautiful, and I liked how she did it, and it was all variegated in different shades and things. So I went through the paper and I came across that New Horizons paper. Now this is still current in our mini catalog until June, the end of June. So what I did, as you can see, I just randomly punched the dies out of the colors here. So for example, this yellow one, I just placed the die on the yellow part of the paper and cut that out. The stems I cut out of the green here at the bottom. And here I cut another yellow one and some more stems. And also the pink, that's what I did. I cut the pink out of the back because this is all sort of a pink. So I cut the pink out of there. And then the purple I cut out of this piece. So if you flip through the stack, you will find different colors, and you'll find some that you like, or just use another piece of excuse me, DSP if you don't want to use your blends. But blends are always a good choice as well. Okay. So now what we are going to attempt to do is add these stems first. So some of them might need a little bit of trimming and some might not, but I'm going to use Tombow for this because they are so fine. I could have used an adhesive sheet, but I wasn't sure how that was going to work with the stem, but that's all right. We can experiment with that later. Okay, so let's start. What should we start with, the yellow or the purple? Let's start with the yellow. Okay, so I'm just going to try to slide this so you can see. I'm just going to put some adhesive or some glue on these pieces here, and you don't need a lot. Okay, just enough to kind of tack it down. You can add on the stem if you want. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to slide it. I'm just going to lift this up a bit. I'm going to slide it in here so it looks like the stem is in those beads, and just give that a press. Okay. And I'm not too concerned if it goes over because this will still be mounted on our base. So I'm just gonna wipe my fingers because I find they always get very sticky. All right, so then I think I will add, now you could add the flowers right away, but I'm just gonna try putting the purple stem on first. So because this piece kind of sticks out here, I'm just gonna trim that off. And then I think this should probably fit into the opening. If not, you can trim this bottom piece too if you wanted. But let's see what happens. Okay, so I'm just gonna put a little bit of Tombow here. Just a little bit on the stem. You could use a sponge to apply this too if you wanted. That might be a good idea. Okay, so this one, I want to have this a little more to the left. So I'm gonna try to slide this in and put this one, I hope I'm not out of camera view, sorry if I am. I'm just gonna put this one here. Now there's some glue there, but it will dry. Okay, so now I think I will add these flowers first before we add our final stem. So on this one, I want to add this yellow. Oh, my fingers are still sticky. It's the one thing about glue I don't like. I always like to wipe my fingers because I don't want to end up getting glue on all the other pieces. So first of all, I cut this little center. This was also one of the meadow dies. Okay, so I'm just gonna put a teeny bit of Tombow to tack that down. And I'm just gonna put this in the center of the yellow. This is actually Blackberry Bliss as well, this little center. And then this, I'm going to pop up with a dimensional. So I think a large one will fit on here. So let's put this one here. And then I'm gonna pop this over here. Okay, and then I also have a little sort of bud that was cut from the same die. And this, I don't know if the mini dimensionals will be too big, but they might just fit. So this, I think I will put here on that stem. Okay, so now I'm going to add this purple, and this one is very fine, so I don't think I'm going to get any dimensionals on here unless I cut the minis down in half. So I think I'm just going to lay this flat with a bit of Tombow here. Just put a little bit on. Hopefully it's enough that it won't fall off after, but it is pretty strong adhesive, so I think we might be okay. All right, so this one I'm just gonna put here, and I'm gonna cover both of these stems that were here, like so. And again, I'm not too worried if it's hanging over, okay? All right, so now we can try to put in our last stem. So this one is a little bit shorter, but I think it will still work. We can still try to sneak that in here, more in the center. So let's add a bit of Tombow here. And I'm not too worried about putting adhesive on the bottom part of the stem. It makes it look like they're kind of loose in the vase, like flowers are. So let's try to sneak this one in more in the center. Oh, we've got that bud there. I have to, okay. So something like that. I mean, you can place these anyhow, you know, any way that works for you. Okay, so now we have these pink flowers. So I'm going to cut these off of the stem because I don't want to just put the whole mound there. I want to kind of separate them. So I'm just going to separate these, and I'm going to separate the buds as well. Let's see. And it is a little bit of a time commitment, but I think the result is really cool. I really like how this turned out. It actually looks like a real vase of flowers. Okay, so we'll cut that stem off there. And then these ones, I would like to add a dimensional. I might have to cut a mini in half. Oh my, that's pretty small. We need mini dimensionals. Okay, let's see if I can get this on here. There's one. I'm gonna get this other piece on. Let's see. There we go. Oh my goodness, this is piddly. Okay. All right, so now you can randomly attach these wherever. So I'm going to put one here. And then maybe this bigger one we can put somewhere. So just take your time with it. Maybe we'll put this one over here. And then I've got a couple of buds as well, but let's put this one here first. So I might have to cut another mini. And if you don't want to pop them on dimensionals, like you don't have to, you can just certainly lay them down flat, you know, if you don't want to go to this trouble. I just kind of like the 3D look of it. Oops. And I know it is piddly, but I just wanted to show you some ways you can sort of change this up a little. Okay, so I'll put that pink one there. And then we've got two little buds. So if you want, you can put these on as well, or you don't have to. And where should we put these? I don't think I have any other stems that are visible, but maybe I don't really want to play with this too much in case those come falling out, but maybe we can tuck one under here. And do we want to add this one? Maybe. Okay, let's do one more. So thank you for being so patient watching me do this. What did I do with it? Oh, there. That's the thing with these small pieces, they can easily get lost on your work surface. Okay, now this last one, maybe we will just have popping out here. Just pop this out there. That's okay. All right. So there are the flowers. I don't think I need my silicone mat anymore. Okay, so now what I want to do is I'm going to put a bow right on top of this opening, and that should hopefully stop your beads from falling out. So let's see. I'm going to put that on with some glue dots. So I think I will just add some on here. I'm just going to put them right at the top of this, whoops, this opening here. And it did work on my sample. So let's hope that will be the case here. We'll give it a test run and see if I'm right. As long as the bow sticks. Oh my gosh, these glue dots are not cooperating with me today. Oh, maybe I should just try to put them right on my bow. See if that works. Okay, so I'm going to put this right on top of that opening right there. And this ribbon, by the way, is our Pale Papaya, open weave ribbon, which is still available in the in colors that were released last year. So I chose the Pale Papaya for this one. Okay, so I've got that there. Now, if we were to shake this, ta-da, they don't come out. Yay! And they seem to be okay in there. That's good. So on my sample, you can see, I think there was a little bit of glue still stuck on top of some of these stems, and that's why these beads have decided to just sort of plant themselves up there. So I don't know if shaking over time will get rid of them or not, but it was my first attempt, so this one seems to be a little bit better. Okay, you can still have fun shaking those around. This I should have probably planted a little bit into the beads, but that's okay. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this on the base before we add our greeting and some little bling. So I think because it has a teeny bit of weight to it, I am going to put some tear and tape on here. I think your Stampin' Seal or your Seal Plus would probably be fine. But I'm always a little bit leery of things falling off. So I think I feel a little bit safer putting this Stampin' Seal on. Now, I don't know if I need any. Do I need any on the top? Should we be overcautious and just add a piece on top and bottom? Extra security, I guess, hey? Okay, so let's do that. All right, and then I'll try to take, oops, see, it's not a glue dot on there. Oh my goodness. Okay, let's try to peel this off. And then we will add it on top. One more, come on, come on, come on. There we go. There we go. Okay. So with this piece, you're going to want to put it right in the center of your Blackberry Bliss. So I just sort of eyeball it. Again, you're leaving about, I would guesstimate about 1/2 inch or so on each side. So you can just give that tear and tape a little press so it, and also because with the embossing folder, you know, there's always this raised image. So sometimes, oh, a bit of adhesive on my finger. Oh dear. I'm leaving a mark on my paper. That's not good. Okay. The beauty of live video. Oh my gosh. Maybe my rubbing is making it worse, hey? Okay, I'm just gonna leave it like that for now. All right, so now I think I will add, I do have a greeting. So this greeting is from the stamp set. It says sending cheer, and there's also some other ones which are nice. And I cut this out with some new dies that we have called the Stylish Shapes dies, and this is what they look like. So you've got a bunch of layered circles and squares and then layered banners. So I use the smallest one here. So these are some great new dies. And then I just stamped that greeting in Blackberry Bliss. So I'm just going to add that with some regular adhesive here and try to tuck this in underneath. If it's not totally tucked under, that's okay. And then the last thing is to add a little bit of bling. So these are our new iridescent pearls, basic jewels, and they come in 2 sizes. So you've got smaller ones and a few larger ones. So I think for our purposes, we will just use the small ones on these pink flowers here. Just because to me they look a little bit plain. I mean, you don't have to. It's total personal preference, right? Or if you have some other gems or things you'd like to add, feel free to experiment with what you like. And there is our card, and it shakes and it doesn't spill. That was the test right there. And it didn't seem, oh, there's a little one stuck, but so someone might have fun with that. And it's just, it looks like a real bouquet to me, a real bouquet of flowers. Okay, so there is your project for today. I hope you enjoyed that. I do still have a host code for May. It's WH3JNTFA, and you're welcome to use that at checkout on my website at christineludwig.stampinup.net. And you're also welcome to like me on Facebook, Pinterest, and check out my YouTube channel and subscribe while you're there. It's totally free. There are a number of other videos and projects on there that might be of interest, and those are all known as Christine Stamping Spot. So I hope you really enjoyed that. Today, I love this card. I just love how this turned out. It's just so much fun. So I hope you'll give it a try. So have a great rest of your long weekend, and we will see you again next time. Bye for now.